So this is a project in Portland, Oregon that um, the client wanted me to do for them, and they wanted to do the installation themselves from the plan that I created. And so this is how they're getting started. They're using cardboard to remove the lawn in their front yard here to create the path that's in the plan. And you can see they're setting some pots on there to hold down the cardboard, but really they're just starting from your typical, perennial ryegrass lawn. So here's the next photo where they're actually laying down the cardboard in the shape of the plan, the planned pathway. And you have the beds in between here, and you can see they've actually concurrently been putting in some plants, which I don't recommend, but this is up to the client how they want to do their own installation. They can follow the phasing plan that I provided, or they can do it on their own in any way that they would like. So they're putting in their plants at the same time, I think, because they're very excited, and that's great. They're also, you can see, starting to get the posts in for the pergola that they're going to do. And then you can see how the path joins up with their porch and their entry path here. And in this, you can see the pergola and the patio that they built from the design. And it looks like they have done only a portion of the urbanite. And that's a change that they made, which is fine. And you can see that they're starting to add gravel directly over the cardboard, which is an interesting way of doing that. I wouldn't have recommended doing that way. How I would have done it would be to dig down and lay the gravel down in, a cavity, essentially. But this is the way they chose to do that, and it's working for them. And then you can see that they've also used some edging there for their pathways, and something that I try to avoid is using this kind of edging. It's just an extra expense of material, and I don't find it's necessary, but again, this is how they did things, and they use string, you can see, to get their lines perfectly straight. And this client had a lot of fun, they said, with this project. They told me that they just were having a blast and super excited, and that the neighbors were commenting and thrilled with it too. This is what they ended up with as far as the path. And you can see that the edging sticks out, which is something that I try to avoid. I don't personally like the look of that, but that is, again, up to the client. It's their choice of how they wanted to do that. And you can see some of their plants are starting to really come in, and this path will allow them to harvest from every bed really easily. And then this is them, looks like somebody got a little bit of a scrape, but this is them laying down the urbanite pavers and on top of the gravel, so that they could get the gravel poured in between them. So this is urbanite, and it's basically just recycled concrete. Urbanite is kind of just a slang, like a term that made up by those who know about this resource. But it's just broken up, jackhammered pieces of concrete that make for really great pavers, and they're most often free. I recommend these. These are great permeable, and they end up looking really beautiful if done right. And so you can see that they brought in a bunch of gravel to pour in between the pavers, and that would be something you'd want to do after you get your pavers in place, and then you would push, shovel or brush, or however broom you want to get that gravel. This is a fine gravel. I've recommended that they use a 1/4 inch minus gravel, and it's pretty easy to get in Portland, Oregon. It's more difficult to get in Southern California. Usually what you find is like a 3/8 inch, which is definitely not quite as good, but it is oftentimes what you can get, and it's better than doing like concrete, of course, because we want permeability. And they've got the kids involved, putting them to work. This is where they've done that patio space under the pergola that I designed, and back here you can see that that's that garden path system that I just was showing you. So here they've dug down to make the pavers, the urbanite pavers, even with the ground plane, which is the correct way. And this is how I would actually do a path as well, is to dig down. You don't have to dig down quite this much, but with the pavers, they're pretty thick. Concrete tends to be thick, so this is why they've gone down this far. So this is a good way to do that. And here they've got helpers brushing the, looks like, I think they did sand over the top potentially, or maybe even soil, because they might be doing the little steppable plants that I recommended. But they've got a little worker bee brushing over the finished, urbanite patio. Looks pretty good. And then finally they've put their table and chairs, and they've got their garden growing behind them, and they've got some swings hanging from the pergola, and they're just really happy with the whole overall design, and I think they did a really good job. This is the little bee fountain, bee watering fountain, and you can see the plants are just put in, so they're not grown in yet, but this will be all kind of filled in, and they have a lot more privacy now from the street, but they also have a really welcoming outdoor patio space and a garden space that, like again, the neighbors have really expressed enjoyment of and interest in, and now this family is ready to start sharing permaculture with their neighborhood and inspiring others and teaching them what they learned doing their own project. So if you want something for your outdoor space that you can do yourself, or if you'd like, help having that constructed, you can contact Ecologic at ecologiclandscape.com.